autism is a condition that impacts how individuals communicate, both verbally, where they're talking to you, and also what we call nonverbal communication. So for example, if you and I smile at each other, we both know that we're happy. Well, an autistic individual might look at that smile and wonder, well, what does that mean? Or they may communicate to you in a way that makes sense to them, where they frown at you, where in their mind a frown means they're happy, but it's a miscommunication. So
in 2020, the CDC reported that approximately 1 in 54 children in the United States are diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. Do you know anybody with autism? People around you could have autism and you wouldn't even know. A classmate at school, or even a coworker at work.
My name is Latoni Brown back home. My son is Ezekiel back home. He's 22 months old, and I found out he had autism when he was 18 months. When I found out Ezekiel had autism, my heart dropped. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I thought the doctor was lying to me. I thought she misdiagnosed him. I took him back for a follow-up appointment, and come to find out the diagnosis was right.
Here is a list of common signs of autism. Go to www.autismspeaks.org for more information.
What made me go get Ezekiel tested initially is I saw signs of autism. He would flap. I noticed that he would say words, and then his words would digress. Like first he was saying mama a lot at 12 months, 13 months, 16 months, and then by the time he hit 18 months he stopped saying my name. And then also I noticed that he would look off in space. He started having night tears, like crying in the middle of the night, whereas previously we had him sleeping through the middle of the night. Another sign that we noticed is that he wouldn't point. He wouldn't give me eye contact. When we call his name, he would ignore us. So I thought those were signs to get him tested. Now it's 2:18. Ezekiel woke up at 2:05 crying. It's 2:18 now. I brought him downstairs to rock him. He back to sleep now. This is his stimulation. He likes to get rocked. And if I rock him, that'll calm him down. I done tried weighted blankets. I done tried a lot of different things. It doesn't work. This is what he like. So when he get to crying, it was 2:05 when he was crying. It's 2:18 now. It's like 10 minutes. I can take him back upstairs now. He can be asleep for the rest of the night. But we go through this like 3 times a week. Some days he sleep through the night, and some nights he don't. And basically, this is how I soothe him. If I just let him cry through the night, that'd be fine, but it'll wake the whole house up. But he's asleep now, so now I could just go back upstairs, put him in the bed, and everybody could be asleep for the rest of the night. Ezekiel wake up in the middle of the night and he cry with his eyes closed. It's not that he's not tired. Most of the time he is tired. He just needs some type of stimulation. What I do is I come downstairs and I rock him, just because everybody upstairs is sleeping, and he will cry until I do that. So I rock him back to sleep.
Finding out your child has autism can be hard to handle and overwhelming. There is no cure for autism, but there are therapies that can help. Educating yourself about the diagnosis and seeking professional therapeutic services can help big time. Early intervention is a service and supports that are available to babies and young children with developmental delays and disabilities. This may include speech therapy, physical therapy, and other types of services based on the child and family needs.
ABA therapy is a scientifically based method that has been shown to work for those with autism. It's a specific method in which how we teach them due to repetition as well as correction procedure that is utilized. It can be table work of repetition, or it can be utilized as natural environment training, which is done when they're in more naturalistic setting and they're taught the environment, things of colors, seasons, things of that nature.
As soon as Ezekiel got diagnosed with autism, his doctor recommended that he go through Help Me Grow, which is early intervention. And, he got an amazing therapist named Karen. She come out once a week. She teach us how to deal with his autism. We wrote goals that we want to hit, dealing with him, whether it's, him learning how to point and communicate. So, Karen come out once a week and she shows us different techniques, me and his dad, how to help him communicate with us.
Early intervention is provided to children from 0 to 3 years old, and so we go into homes and work with children also in the community as well as at home. Work with parents and families to help children, to help them learn to work with their own children and develop certain strategies based on the outcomes that the parents choose. So parents decide what they want to work on, and we assist them to work on things like speech, sensory issues, eating, using utensils, speaking, moving, standing, walking, those type of things. So
With those with autism, research has shown that the earlier they get diagnosed, is the sooner they're able to then get incorporated into ABA programs. So they're able to reach or get close to at least grade level when they're able to start implementing those specific teaching methods.
I think that when we can work with children at a very young age, we can help them start to develop skills before they go to school, so that there's not as much work for special education to do. And they learn to develop those skills in their home environment, which is why it's so helpful, because they're learning to do it with their family and comfortable with what they're familiar with.
So the question is, do students that begin receiving services early, is that beneficial? I would say absolutely yes. A student who starts receiving special education services for autism, say when they're in the 2nd grade, over time will be able to develop the social skills that you and I hope they will achieve. So by the time they're in high school, you would be able to, you would not be able to tell any difference between an autistic student or a regular student if you walked into the classroom.
A stereotype that I have seen since I found out my son was diagnosed, and I tell family and friends that my son been diagnosed with autism, is they just assume that he don't have it because he's smart, or that he don't look like he got autism. But one thing about autism is a wide spectrum. You don't look like you have autism. Autism is not a handicap. It's a disability that you could get help for. And I think people just assume that when somebody have autism, they will look handicapped or they will look a certain type of way, and that's not the case. And I think that's the myth that they say, oh, girls, he don't look like he have autism, or he too smart to have autism. And autism is not saying that you're not intelligent, because he's very smart. He catches on. He know how to do a lot of things that is up to his age. So, that's, I think the myth about autism is that they supposed, or stereotype is that they're supposed to look a certain type of way, or it's a serious handicap. And from experience having a son with autism, that's not the case.
Stereotype about autism is that the kids are not smart, which is completely inaccurate. They are very smart children. They know a lot. You just got to be able to get it out of them in the way that they understand.
I think that a lot of people assume that children aren't interested in interacting with other people when they're autistic, and that's not the case at all. I think that people assume that children or people with autism are don't show feelings or have feelings or don't show affection. That's also not the case. Sometimes they just need to learn to deal with their sensory systems. And I think that a lot of people think that tantrums and terrible behaviors come along with autism, and that's also not always the case. Kids can learn to cope with dealing with the world and dealing with other people and all the things that they experience every day. So those stereotypes, every child is different. It has their own unique needs and behaviors.
As autistic individuals, they feel this pressure. They know they're different. As they look around their classroom and they see other students aren't doing what they're doing, and they realize they're different. But what they don't want is they don't want to be treated differently, because in their mind, you're automatically separating them and saying to them, you're different in a bad way. So the question is, how can you help them where you give them space to grow and also have the patience to let them grow? And I think that's the most difficult thing. We want them to be just like us. Chances are they never will be just like us.
Having a child myself with autism, it's pretty fun at times because I get a chance to really see things differently, not just from my perspective and what I would expect to be normal. I get a chance to look at things in a different light and to see things through the eyes of my child.
You know, once I just swallowed that hard pill, I know I gotta get to work for my son. I know I'm his biggest advocator. I know I'm his biggest cheerleader. So I'm gonna do whatever it takes, go to the moon and back to help him get where he needs to be at in life.